Greetings. This is Mr. No Face.
In Obsessed with Pedophilia, Refuting Objections, Ali of Dawa Films maintains his position that at the time of consummation, Aisha was, despite being 9 years of age, physically and psychosocially mature. That is, he believes Aisha would have looked mature and acted mature. There is a problem with this, however. There's no evidence to back it up. The paper he cites as supporting his claim does not, as explained by Smiling Skeptic. I've provided a link in the description box. Wouldn't it be great, Ali, if there were descriptions of Aisha from a time at or shortly after her marriage to Muhammad? That would tell us what she looked like and acted like. Well, there happens to be a few, as you well know, and as Kling Shore pointed out in his videos. Links below. I want to bring to light a hadith from the most revered of the ahadith collection, Sahih Bukhari 5462. I've chosen this one because it describes her physically. It describes her actions, all at a time shortly after her joining Muhammad's family. But first, a note on the nature of the hadith. The hadith are collections of stories from Muhammad's companions. Most of the Muslim world considers them essential for understanding the Quran and how to practice Islam. Many of the ahadith are the same story with slight variations. The story I will summarize is repeated in a number of places in Sahih Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. Sometimes it is in fragments. In several instances it is complete. So here goes. Warning, I am not a scholar of Islam, and I am going to mangle the pronunciation of nearly all the Arabic words. Sahih Bukhari 5462. Narrated Aisha. Whenever Allah's apostle intended to go on a journey, he used to draw lots amongst his wives, and Allah's apostle used to take with him the one on whom the lot fell. He drew lots amongst us during one of the Ghazwa which he fought. Ghazwa means battle. The lot fell on me, and so I proceeded with Allah's apostle. After Allah's order of veiling the women had been revealed, I was carried on the back of a camel in my howdah, and carried down while still in it, when we came to a halt. So we went on till Allah's apostle had finished from the Ghazwa of his and returned. When we approached the city of Medina, he announced at night that it was time for departure. So, when they announced the news of departure, I got up and went away from the army camps, and after finishing from the call of nature, I came back to my riding animal. I touched my chest to find that my necklace, which was made of ziffer beads, was missing. So I returned to look for my necklace, and my search for it detained me. In the meanwhile, the people who used to carry me on my camel came and took my howdah and put it on the back of my camel on which I used to ride, as they considered that I was in it. In those days, women were light in weight, for they did not get fat, and flesh did not cover their bodies in abundance, as they used to eat only a little food. Those people, therefore, disregarded the lightness of the howdah while lifting and carrying it, and at that time I was still a young girl. They made the camel rise, and all of them left, along with it. I found my necklace after the army had gone. Then I came to their camping place to find no call maker of them, nor one who would respond to the call. So I intended to go to the place where I used to stay, thinking that they would miss me and come back to me in my search. While I was sitting in my resting place, I was overwhelmed by sleep and slept. Okay, here goes. Safwan bin Amutal as-Sulami ad-Dakwani was behind the army. When he reached my place in the morning, he saw the figure of a sleeping person, and he recognized me on seeing me, as he had seen me before the order of compulsory veiling was prescribed. So I woke up when he recited Istirja. As soon as he recognized me, I veiled my face with my head cover at once, and by Allah, we did not speak a single word, and I did not hear him saying any word besides his Istirja. He dismounted from his camel and made it kneel down, putting his leg on its front legs, and then I got up and rode on it. Then he set out leading the camel that was carrying me, till we overtook the army in the extreme heat of midday while they were at a halt, taking a rest. Because of the event, some people brought destruction upon themselves, and the one who spread the ifk, a slander, more was Abdullah bin Ubay ibn Salul. Aisha added, "After we returned to Medina, I became ill for a month. The people were propagating the forged statements of the slanderers while I was unaware of anything at all. But I felt that in my present ailment I was not receiving the same kindness from Allah's apostle as I used to receive when I got sick." In the next part, Aisha learns from her friend that people have been spreading slanders about her, and so, she continues, "So my ailment was aggravated, and when I reached my home, Allah's apostle came to me, and after greeting me said, 'How is that lady?'" Again, lady is parenthetical. It comes later. I said, "Will you allow me to go to my parents?" as I wanted to be sure about the news through them. So here she's at Muhammad's home. She lives with Muhammad. This is post-consummation. She asks to go to her parents' home. She's living with Muhammad. Allah's apostle allowed me, and I went to my parents and asked my mother, "O mother, what are the people talking about?" She said, "O my daughter, don't worry, for scarcely is there a charming woman who is loved by her husband and whose husband has other wives besides herself, that they would find faults with her." I said, "Subhan Allah, I testify the uniqueness of Allah." Are the people really talking in this way? I kept on weeping that night till dawn. I could neither stop weeping nor sleep. Then in the morning again I kept on weeping. When the divine inspiration was delayed, Allah's apostle called Ali bin Abi Talib and Usama bin Zayd to ask and consult them about divorcing me. Usama bin Zayd said what he knew of my innocence and the respect he preserved in himself for me. Usama said, "O Allah's apostle, she is your wife and we do not know anything except good about her." Ali bin Abi Talib said, "O Allah's apostle, Allah does not put you in difficulty, and there are plenty of women other than she. Yet ask the maidservant who will tell you the truth." On that, Allah's apostle called Barira. Now I have to interject here. This is the person that is recommended to Muhammad. Muhammad calls his two closest advisors and they say, "Ask Barira. I mean, she's her maidservant. They spend a lot of time together. This is a good source." What's Barira's assessment? She is a young girl who sleeps, leaving the dough of her family exposed so that domestic goats come and eat it. She falls asleep on the job. She's described as a young girl. That's it. That's my point. The narrative continues to a happy ending in which Muhammad receives another of his timely revelations, as Allah reveals Aisha's innocence, and all is well. To sum up, this hadith and others like it have Aisha post-consummation describing herself as a thin young girl, and she is described as a young girl by her close companion. She cries day and night and returns to her parents when faced with adversity. This is Aisha, the child bride of Muhammad.
However, your inability to handle opposition without resorting to rudeness and condescension harm your cause of bridging the divide between these communities. Instead of answering questions, or God forbid just saying, "I don't know, I will try to get back to you on that one," you levy insults and cry persecution. You accuse me of some deception. Would you have rather I came out and said, "I think the texts of Islam support the view that Muhammad was a pedophile from the start"? I think, given your track record, the conversation would have been rather short. Then I would never have learned your point of view, which I wanted to know. Your video and our communication in the comments did not cover several points I wanted to address. The hadith in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim that describe Aisha in Medina, and yet she was a little girl, thin, and small according to her own description, and the description from her slave girl, who added, she is the young girl who falls asleep while meeting her family's bread. These contradict your assertion that Aisha was both mentally and physically mature at the age of 9. All Catherine further complicates your position by saying in one verse that Aisha claims the consummation of her marriage to Muhammad took place at most 2 months after her migration to Medina from Mecca. The paper you cite could go either way. If what you say is true about the stressful life of the Muslims in Mecca, then it may have delayed her physical development and delayed her first menses. Finally, you are right. I am far from an expert on Islam and Arabic culture, and I may not yet have considered some important information. If you or others could inform me in a respectful manner, I would listen. Be seeing you.